What is the problem you see in the world in terms of people's lives?
I guess the biggest problem that I see in the world is people either afraid to do what it is that they know way in their hearts is something special to them and a direction they'd like to go, or that they have a challenge connecting with themselves, connecting with the people that are around them, and certainly connecting in the greater world.
When you say connecting, do you mean building relationships? Do you mean communicating? What do you mean?
I think it goes back to the fear piece, because I think that they don't put themselves completely out there because they are afraid of what might happen, either from what happens externally, what comes back to them, or when they just hear and see themselves being totally who they are, it might be a little bit frightening.
So how do you work with such people as a coach?
I think the first thing that I do, and I honestly do this with my clients, is I love them to death. And I would want to say that when someone calls me to interview me, to hire me, they probably don't realize it, but I am interviewing them way more than they're interviewing me, because I work with clients that I know I will be able to love. And once clients know that I love them, I believe in them way more than they believe in themselves. And pretty much I try to be as non-judgmental as I can, but I'm real human. And so when there's a judgmental piece that comes up, I usually share it with them so that they can see how they are in the world in a really safe place.
How does coaching work to get someone to see themselves?
Again, I think I create a really safe place for them to put themselves out there. And I reflect back not in the traditional, so I hear you saying whatever. I think I reflect responses to what I hear. And once they realize that they're really safe and that I'm coming from a place of not only loving them, but just having a good time with them and knowing that it's okay to kind of play around and see what shows up, I start to see the real person.
What's the profile of a typical client?
The profile of a typical client for me is so diverse, it's almost comical. I have worked with a priest in the Church of England. I have worked with some very high-level executives in very big corporations. I've worked with CEOs of small businesses. I've worked with housewives. I've worked with a tennis pro in the Netherlands Antilles. And so there is almost no profile for my clients except for someone who really has a great sense of humor. That is a requirement.
And they want to change.
And they definitely come to coaching because they want more. Some of them don't want to change, they just want more. So I have clients that are incredibly successful, have great marriages, have great families, and still are willing to work forward in their lives. And those are the most exciting clients to work with.
How long does it take to coach someone?
I know that a lot of coaches work very briefly with clients. They'll work with clients for 2 months or 3 months or 4 months. Many of my clients I have worked with for many years. And they may have come with a specific project or wanting to move forward, and once they begin to pick up momentum in moving forward, no matter where they are, they want more. They want to increase what they're doing that feels good to them. And they move into a place where they're really creating a legacy for themselves, because I don't like to look at clients as people who come to me with problems that we're going to fix or that we're going to work on. We just partner and move forward together.
What's your philosophy of life? Obviously, you have a sense about life. What's yours?
I think my philosophy of life is that as we move through it, there are just a few things that we really need to have. And one of them is to have people that we love and who love us back, and that we feel really safe with them and comfortable, and that we smile and laugh and chuckle and look for the positive pieces everywhere. There is something positive in everything that happens, even when you would step back and look at it and see it as a tragedy. You can take a breath and say, in this tragedy, what's positive? And you can find it every time.
That's a courageous stand that you've just expressed. Some people don't see the joy. What makes you have this inner joy? Where do you get it from?
Honestly, I think it came from fear. I think that getting in the mode of looking for the positive and finding the true joy in almost everything comes from a place of being afraid to go into the place that is negative and hopeless, and I get that sometimes people need to go there. I am so uncomfortable there that I really work at staying in the positive place. It just feels better to me.
You have a reputation of being a really good coach, but also a reputation for being really funny and wacky.
Yeah.
Can you give me an example of why people think this? What do you do?
I don't know. I mean, I think that a piece of it is just trying to look at everything, not just fun, but there's funny things that go on in life, and you can always lighten up a situation, and I like to bring people along with me. And so whether I'm coaching, one of the things when I'm coaching and working with someone whose pace is relatively slow, and my pace is relatively quick, it's almost a little bit of a challenge to me to bring them slowly up to my pace, because we work better there. And I think when I am in a group of people and things are either, I must say I get bored fairly quickly. And so if I begin to get bored, or if things are kind of dull or just kind of going along, it's almost something that I enjoy doing is to bring the group along with me into a more fun, lighter, more joyful place.
You're also amazingly honest about, for example, you own up to saying you get bored. How come you're so honest?
I usually am just brought out into the conversation when I hear people or coaches talk about high integrity and how important it is to have high integrity, and how as coaches we have to have this very high integrity level, and there are people out there who don't have high integrity. And that's when I come up and say, well, then I have really low integrity, because I am willing to admit that there are times when I have low integrity, or I'm not always being completely honest. And by putting it out there and saying that, my integrity is actually higher than anyone else who's out there talking about how high their integrity is. If I tried to do this whole set of rules and regulations, or what I thought was the right way to be, I'm not together enough to pull that off. I just am not. So when I realized that, and I thought, and I get hurt, I get insulted, I feel left out sometimes even in my own family. I feel like I toss something out there and they don't get it, and it's like, that makes me feel bad. It's like, oh, I shouldn't have done that, or I shouldn't have. I mean, I do all of that stuff. But I think there's this really narrow piece that's, if I love, and if I play, and if I joke and laugh and have a good time, that I'll feel better. And I think that that's okay.
How do people find you?
They just appear out of the ethers sometimes. I have never advertised. I have never done any marketing. I am out there in the world just living my life and being with my precious family and my friends. And I will get phone calls from people that say, so-and-so knows you through so-and-so, and I understand that this is what you do, and you do it well, and I would like to talk to you. Or from other clients, I hear clients refer other people to me all the time. And like I said, people just show up in my life.